Hello students, this is Govind sir and today we are discussing baud plot and PID controllers. In the previous video we have discussed about the transfer functions and the root locus and the stability by using root locus. Okay, so we will continue this lecture with the next topic, or can say this is the last topic of your unit second, that are baud plot and PID controllers. So let's start with the baud plot. What is baud plot? Baud plot is a graphical representation of transfer function to find out the stability of control system. Baud plot consists of two plots. First one is magnitude versus frequency plot, and second one is phase angle versus frequency plot. So we have two terms, that is magnitude and phase angle, and both are plotted versus frequency. Okay, so first one is magnitude, that is a plot of 20 log of g j omega in dB versus frequency omega. So another important thing is that baud plot is a frequency domain representation. Okay, and in the Nyquist in the root locus method we have studied that is S domain representation. Okay, so in this baud plot we will discuss in the form of frequencies. So we have first plot, that is magnitude versus frequency plot, and magnitude is defined as 20 log of mod of g j omega. Okay, versus frequency omega. And second plot is phase angle versus frequency, and phase angle is defined as angle of g j omega versus frequency omega. And we have some advantages of baud plot, that an approximate baud plot can always be drawn with hand, and multiplication of magnitudes get converted into addition. And another is phase angle curves can easily be drawn if a template of phase angle curve of 1 plus j omega is available. So these are the basic benefits of baud plot. Now move to the next. We have two important aspect of baud plot, that is gain margin, and another one is phase margin. So what is gain margin? It is the amount of gain in dB that can be added to the system before the system become unstable. It means the amount of gain that can be added before the system become unstable. Okay, so gain margin in dB can be expressed as 20 log 10. This is base 10 log. Okay, so 20 log 10 of 1 upon mod of g j omega. Okay, and it can be written as minus 20 log 10 of mod of g j omega. And another important aspect, that is gain crossover frequency. So what is gain crossover frequency? That means a frequency where magnitude plot intersect the 0 dB line, that is x-axis, denoted by omega g. Omega g is gain over frequency, the frequency where magnitude plot intersects the 0 dB line. Okay, and another thing is phase margin. So it is the amount of phase lag in degree that can be added to the system before the system become unstable. Okay, this is amount of phase lag that can be added to the system so that the system before the system become unstable. And phase margin in degree can be written as 180 degree plus angle of gj omega. Another important term, that is phase crossover frequency. So we have two frequencies. First one is gain crossover frequency and second one is phase crossover frequency. So what is phase crossover frequency? Frequency where phase plot intersects the 180 degree line. It's not dB, 180 degree line. X is denoted by omega p. Omega p is phase crossover frequency. By using these two frequency, we can be analyze the system is stable or not. Okay, now we have some stability analysis using baud plot. The phase margin and gain margin must be positive for minimum phase system to be stable. So important thing is phase margin and gain margin must be positive for minimum phase system to be stable. and negative margins indicates instability. Okay, and another important thing is for satisfactory performance, the phase margin should be between 30 degree to 60 degree and gain margin should be greater than 6 dB. Okay, so phase margin the in practical that is 30 degree to 60 degree and the gain margin should be greater than 6 dB. Either the gain margin or phase margin alone does not give a sufficient indication of the relative stability. So both should be given in the order to determine the relative stability. And first order and second order system, the gain margin is always infinity. We have some limitation or can say disadvantage of bot plot, that is bot plot cannot be used for stability analysis of non-minimum phase system. So it is applicable only on minimum phase system. Okay, now we have a stability analysis based on gain margin and phase margin, and we will discuss clearly in the figure. And first one is if omega z is less than omega p, that is gain crossover frequency is less than phase crossover frequency. So here is a magnitude plot and this one is phase plot. The omega z is gain crossover frequency. The plot when intersects 0 dB line, magnitude plot intersects 0 dB line, then that frequency is gain crossover frequency. Similarly in phase plot, the phase plot intersects the 180 degree line, that is phase crossover frequency, and here is phase crossover frequency is greater than the gain crossover frequency. And in the magnitude plot, this is the positive gain margin. Okay, and in the phase plot this is positive phase margin. So both the margins are positive, positive gain margin and positive phase margin, so the system will be stable. Okay, so we can see the both plots and we can understand the system is stable or not. Now we have another, that if omega z is greater than omega p, it means gain crossover frequency is greater than the phase crossover frequency. Clear? So in the amplitude amplitude plot, this is the negative gain margin. Okay, and the phase plot, it is also negative phase margin. So both the margins are negative, that means negative gain margin and negative phase margin, then the system will be unstable. Clear? And if what happened if the both the frequencies are same, it means omega z equals to omega p, gain crossover frequency equals to phase crossover frequency, then we have no gain margin and no phase margin. So gain margin and phase margin will be 0. Clear? So it because gain margin is calculated on phase crossover frequency and phase margin is calculated on gain crossover frequency. It is the important thing, but here is in this condition when omega z equals to omega p, we have no gain margin and 0 phase margin. Okay, so the system will be marginally stable. Okay, now move to the next topic, that is PID controllers. PID controllers are found in a wide range of applications for industrial process control. Approximately 95% of the closed loop operations of industrial automation sector use PID controllers, and PID stands for proportional integral derivative. Okay, so these three controllers are considered in such a way that it produces a control signal. As a feedback controller, it delivers the control output at desired level. Before microprocessors were invented, PID controllers was implemented by the analog electronic components, but today all PID controllers are processed by the microprocessors. PLCs, that is programmable logical controls also have the inbuilt PID controllers instructions. Due to the flexibility and reliability of the PID controllers, these are traditionally used in process control applications. Okay, so this is the basic of PID controllers. Now we have a diagram for PID controllers. You can see clearly the first block is proportional to the error signal, and second one is the integral of error signal, and third one is the derivative of error signal. So there are three different controllers, P, I and D, that is proportional, integral and derivative, are used to produce a control signal in the system. So we can discuss or elaborate the different these three controllers. First one is P controller. Proportional or P controller gives output which is proportional to the current error, that is ET. It compares desired or set point with actual values or feedback process values. The resulting error is multiplied with the proportional constant to get the output. If the error value is 0, then this controller output is 0. Another is I controller, that is integral controller. Due to the limitation of P controller, where there always exists an offset between the process variable and the set point, I controller is needed, which provides necessary action to eliminate the steady state error. It integrates the error over a period of time until error value reaches to 0. It holds the value to final control device at which error becomes 0. Now we have last but not the least, that is D controller. And I controller doesn't have the capability to predict the future behavior of error. So it reacts normally once the set point is changed. D controller overcomes this problem by anticipating future behavior of the error. Its output depends on the rate of change of error with respect to time. So multiplied by derivative constant. It gives the kick start for the output, thereby increasing system response. So these are the controllers which are used in PID, that is P controller, I controller and D controller. And we have studied baud plot and stability using baud plot and the PID controllers in this video. Okay, so this is all about your second unit, and we will start the next unit in the next video. Okay, thank you.